name is Olga Bednarski, and today I would like to talk to you about my unconventional approach to overcoming stuttering in adults. It is called the anatomy of stuttering. My approach, my methodology follows 6 steps, starting from step 1, when you are unaware and you don't know how you create your stuttering, believing that stuttering is just something that happens to you and there's no way out, there's no control over it, up to stage 6, where composure, confidence, inner peace, and fluency become your daily lived, felt, breathed experiences. So let's have a look at stage number 1. So stage number 1, typically when you are at this stage, you start out of control, you experience lots of anxiety, which you don't know how to manage. And typically people say that stuttering just happens, there's nothing I can do about it. If so, it must be some kind of a genetic condition. Unawareness. Let's just for a second imagine that, suppose you knew how you created your blocking. Suppose you knew how exactly you contributed to your anxiety before speaking situations. You would then be able to significantly mitigate those external symptoms, and stuttering is an external symptom, as well as anxiety. And this way you could gradually eliminate stuttering. First, you would greatly reduce it, and then you would eliminate it, and speaking would just happen without rehearsing, without preparation, without anxiously choosing difficult words, simple words, and so on. So this is unawareness. Awareness, on the other hand, gives us freedom. When you know what's going on, you have a choice to correct it. You have a choice to replace your behaviors, your thoughts, your actions would then be different. But this comes only when you know, once you are aware. So unawareness blocks the view, and awareness gives us freedom. And in my framework, I look at stuttering as something people unconsciously create. So stuttered speech is an experience you unconsciously create because you don't have the awareness as to how exactly you create it. But you still create the experiences. You still create the blocking, you still create the anxiety. What kind of quality experiences do you create when you are blindfolded by unawareness or unconsciousness? You create what you create. You make all choices that lead to exactly the same results every time. And then probably after having a bad speaking day, you beat yourself up, you think about it, you replay it in your mind, which actually reinforces your speech anxiety even more. So this strategy I do not recommend. And also, if you look at intention of a person who stutters out of control and who gets very anxious, the prime intention of such person is to survive, to push through, to get by. As you can probably gather, it's not very fun to be at this stage. So what I suggest instead, and how you can move from unawareness to awareness and then becoming a conscious creator of flow, being able to control your emotional state, being able to regulate it, and then daily, on demand, be creating experience of flow, experience of inner peace and composure every single day. Composure and flow as your lived experiences. The master tool in opening doors of awareness is intentional observation. When you begin to observe, this is the moment when you begin to understand, you begin to grasp as to how you, all these years, have been unconsciously contributing, creating, and reinforcing the experience of verbal struggle, started speech. So, observation. And when you begin to observe, and I give my students exact pointers as to what specific aspects of their personality, of their responses, of their reactions to observe, so they know, they get there much quicker. Once you begin to observe and see and grasp, you come to a point which I called the stop point. This is when you realize that you have had enough. I don't want to live the old way, making the old choices anymore. I want to now become the conscious creator of my flow and be able to cultivate the right emotional state so I can cultivate and maintain flow on demand. So stop means you've had enough. You don't want to live the old experience anymore. You don't want to struggle anymore. And also, I complement intentional observation and noticing with knowledge therapy. I know that there are many misconceptions as to what stuttering really is. And I believe that it is because all of those misconceptions that people lose their way on the way to freedom. They led astray, as it were, on their journey towards the most coveted goal they want to achieve, and that is flow as lived, breathed, felt daily experience. So knowledge therapy is also important at this stage. So, but observation is the main one. Once you begin to intentionally observe, you begin to notice, you begin to see, you start gaining the awareness. And as I said, awareness gives us freedom. Unawareness keeps us locked in our fears, in our anxieties, in our illusions. So let's have a look at step number 3. So as you observe, daily you observe, you start to see what's going on. You start to consciously understand how exactly, what exact actions of yours contribute, reinforce, and maintain your speech anxiety. You then become aware. You see the exact mechanics, you see the exact anatomy of your own stuttering. At this point, you become aware of it. And once you learn this, once you understand this, there is no way to unlearn. There's no way you can forget it. And as you observe and your awareness grows, you start making new choices, new productive, effective choices that lead you to your coveted goal. You become grounded, you become intensely alert, because the whole experience, the whole journey, it turns into some kind of a game of self-discovery. It starts to be very interesting, very exciting at this point. With awareness through observation comes clarity. Now you see and understand even more. You understand yourself. You understand how you tick. And a very interesting thing at this stage as well is that this desperate wanting of achieving fluency, it leaves the house. It leaves you. You stop wanting it desperately, because instead you now know you can. You don't hope you can, you don't believe you can, but you know you can. In exactly the same way as you were creating the experience of blocking, you now can start creating the experience of flow by making new choices that you are presented with, new, more effective choices that are more conducive to inner peace, to presence, to flow as the result of it. So you are beginning to see beyond stuttering. And this is what I initially did when I started my journey. I stopped looking beyond superficial symptoms of the problem, and I kind of pulled the veil, I pulled the curtain, and I looked inside. And this where I found the answers to many, many questions, not just my speech anxiety. So, awareness gives you choice, new choices. You have an opportunity now to swiftly, pretty swiftly, change and alter your daily experiences, your daily interactions. You become more open, you're willing to take risk, you're willing to experiment more. It all starting to get very, very exciting, like a game. And so you move up to stage number 4, conscious creator of flow. At this point, you have collected so much understanding of how you tick and how your speech works that you have almost like a list of things that you should do that take you to where you want to go. And you also have a list of things, as in behaviors and thoughts, that you shouldn't indulge in if you don't want to go back to step 1, unawareness. But as I say, once you learn this, it is impossible to unlearn. There is no way to unlearn it. And as a conscious creator of flow, you also feel in control. And when I say you feel in control, I don't imply that forced kind of control where you have to do tedious, unnatural, stilted exercises and stuff like this. None of that. Control essentially comes from knowing you can, knowing that it is indeed possible and nobody can take it away, because believe it or not, your fluency, your flow was always there within you, only it was covered by layers of misconceptions, false ideas that other people convinced you of, and then probably you have convinced you of as well as you were going through life. So control, no forced control, but based on knowing that it is indeed possible, that you can do it, because through your observation, you have seen how you created the struggle, and now you see how you can intentionally, consciously create flow. Of course, at this point, you are no longer a victim. The victim mentality is at stage number 1, when you believe that stuttering just happens, there's nothing you can do about it. At stage 4, as a conscious creator, you're no longer a victim. You are in charge. You are in control. And also, why do you think you're so sure of yourself at this point? Because knowing what to do, what not to do, gives you an opportunity to course correct. Because as you go through this process, as you climbing up, there will be moments of turbulence. I have to be honest with you. There will be moments of turbulence, because it's like learning a new skill. Sometimes you will have turbulent days. But at this stage, knowing everything that you have learned, you know how to course correct. So you will never go to square one. You will never be experiencing this hopelessness and desperation, like nothing and nobody can ever help me, that I sometimes witness in people who start that have been through various programs and courses. None of that. You know you are in charge. You are in control. You know what to do exactly, and you know exactly what not to do if you don't want to go back. So you have an opportunity to course correct, even in the moment as you speak to people, even in the moment of different experiences that you're having too. And let's have a look at the intention here. As conscious creator of flow, your intention is distinctly different from intention of a person who is unaware. So your intention now is to succeed, is to thrive, and is to have fun. Just imagine for a second that speaking, interacting with people can be fun. Just imagine yourself going into speaking situations to connect with people, to interact, to enjoy, rather than score how fluent or how disfluent you were, rather than scoring and judging your own speaking performance. It's a completely different experience. I would even go as far as to say that this is a completely new state of consciousness, level of consciousness, if you like, and a completely different state of being as well. It is all becoming fun. The more fun you experience, the sooner this process will become your daily lived experience. Why? Because there is no tension anymore, because there is no stress, because there is no fear. Anxiety is reduced. You want to have it as your daily experience. We are always drawn to things that we enjoy. And the more you enjoy something, the more you want it to be present in your life. Moving on to step 5. Step 5 is very, very important. It is critically important. In fact, none of the steps in my system can be skipped. All of them are essential, and all of them built on the top of another. Consistent application. I can tell you all the theories, I can give you all the tools and all the information, but unless you apply it in your daily life, it is pretty useless. So consistent application is an absolute must. Experimenting, testing it out, putting all that you have learned in theory into your practice. Actually, practice begins from approximately this stage. You gradually begin to turn everything into your daily practice. You're incorporating bits and pieces of it, experimenting, and already at this stage, you turning it into your lived experience, slowly, gradually, step by step. But here, consistent application, turning theory, turning everything that you have heard from me into your wisdom, into your daily practice, into your lived experience. And all the actions that you take, all the experiments, all the tests that you put up, they are inspired. They are not random actions. They are inspired actions. Why would you feel inspired? You might ask. Well, you feel inspired because you know these actions, this to-do list is tailored specifically for you because you have observed yourself. You know how your stuttering work. You know how you tick. So all the actions here, they are inspired because they are not random. They are inspired because you are excited about applying them, because you will get the result that you desire. Everything, as I said, at this stage, everything turns more and more into this kind of a game with yourself, essentially. So actions are inspired. And guess what? The more inspired actions you take, the more motivated you become. Even more fun this whole journey begins. And it's very difficult to hold back or to avoid on something that you enjoy. So consistent application is an absolute must. And unfortunately, I have to say this, that I see many people who start up, they go through different courses, but they collect lots of information, they read lots of books, very hardworking, but they tend to skip the stage of consistent application, or you don't follow this step for as long as it is required. And as you go up this mountain, making new choices, up, you finally reach the stage 6, which I call freedom. This is where your fluency, your composure, your inner peace, your ability to self-regulate, your ability to course correct, even when you experience little turbulence here and there, becomes your daily lived experience. Flow as your daily lived, breathed, felt, manifested, spiritually speaking, experience. This is how it goes. New choices ultimately, inevitably will produce new results. Upon condition, of course, that you apply all the new tools, all the new concepts that I give to you. You apply, you experiment. All choices, well, if you have watched so far, I don't think the old choice is your option. So here it is. The anatomy of stuttering, the steps towards freedom. I anticipate that some of you might have some questions to clarify some of the points. If you do have them, please don't hold back. Don't hesitate to get in touch, and I'll be happy to assist. I'll be happy to answer your additional questions. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so and share this video, because my mission is to educate people who stutter. I see that education is urgently needed in this area, and I hope that my unconditional views will help more and more people to understand what stuttering really all about and dissolve it as soon as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.